Well, hello there, and welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. This is where we take a fresh look at ourselves, the world around us. We present interesting topics that we can all weigh in on and share our lived experiences, and we grow and learn together. That's what Take Two is all about. It's a safe platform for you to share what's on your heart and what means the most to you, and that is important. But today, what's really important is we have a part two that we must continue because you guys want to keep the conversation going. You loved the topic from yesterday. As a matter of fact, we suggested that you would share it on social media, and you did. So thank you so very much. So we're excited to continue on with talking about saints today, Jerry.
That's right. And right on cue, there's Duke downstairs. There he is. He wants to weigh in. Maybe his favorite saint is St. Francis. I'm gonna bet. 833-288-EWTN. 833-288-3986. Who is the saint that you feel closest to, that has been guiding you throughout your life? Every time you turn around, well, there's Saint so-and-so again, blessing your life, interceding for you with God. 1-833-288-3986.
And if you were on the line yesterday and we didn't get to your entire story, or we didn't get to you at all, other than Matt Gabinski was able to say hello to you and put you on hold, please call back and tell Matt that you were waiting so patiently and the time ran out. That would include Juanita and Jim and Lorraine and Bob and the others. You know who you are. Just call and speak to Matt Gabinski and tell him you were waiting yesterday and you want to be pushed to the front of the line. That's the least we could do because you kind of are waiting like 24 hours. So for the part two to happen. Also, too, you can call us right now and share the saint that you are closest to, or that you found, or they found you, at 833-288-3986. We've got the show team in place. Ace McKay is our producer. Jeff Burson is on social media, and Matt Kabinski is answering your calls. And Jerry, if I may just share, I am wearing this beautiful St. Joan of Arc. We're talking about saints today. St. Joan of Arc scarf today. It's absolutely beautiful. And the top says, "I am not afraid." And it says, born to do this. And it's absolutely amazing. And this scarf is being worn right now by all the staff and volunteers at The Rock in Cleveland. And their pledge drive is underway right now, going strong. And I love this scarf. And it's so perfect with St. Joan of Arc. What a great saint. So I just want to share, when your local Catholic radio station comes to you and says, please, 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 we're trying to raise the necessary funds, step up generously, will you? Because we need Catholic radio now more than ever. And it's so important. We had Dan Burke on earlier this morning talking about his new book, The Devil in the Castle, St. Teresa of Avila. And it what Dan was saying, we're in the late hour. We've really got to soldier up, and it's very, very important. So that's why we really have to appreciate and take care of Catholic radio and television. Don't forget EWTN.
Yeah. I mean, times have gotten tougher, but we've all lived a pretty, not everybody, but let's just say a somewhat comfortable life over the last several years, maybe all of our lives. So if we tighten that belt a little bit, then there's something to give to EWTN and your local Catholic station. So don't forget that, and don't sit out this conversation on the saint or saints that you feel the closest relationship to in your spiritual life, in your walk, in this journey of life. 833-288-3986. And if I may, Debbie, if I can just take about 30 seconds, there's a fellow parishioner of mine named Gus, and he is a wonderful man, beautiful. His wife is Norma, suffers a lot, so Gus takes care of her. But their son Gus, who is not a junior because he has a different middle name, but their son Gus is in the hospital in isolation. I'm not sure what his ailment is or what the problem is, but it sounds like it's very, very serious. So Take Two family, if you would do Gus and Norma a huge favor, please pray for their son Gus, that God would have his healing hand upon him. We appreciate that so very, very much.
I just added Gus to the prayer book, Jerry, and so please, when you get a chance, let the family know that the Take Two family is definitely praying, and that's important. We believe in the power of prayer. Okay, I just had a text message that said, "Somebody, can you hold up the scarf again?" Yes, if you can see it on YouTube, there you go. It's a St. Joan of Arc scarf, so there you go. I probably won't get a good image of it, but you could probably find it on the internet. So what's beautiful about the saints, they're always around us. They're always helping us. They want to help us. They want to get to know us. We should want to get to know them, right? So let's talk about the saints that you feel very, very close to, or the ones that feel close to you. Because saints sometimes find us, and it's just amazing how it happens. So here is the number. We've got 2 open phone lines. Matt Kabinski just loves it when all the phone lines light up, and that's a good thing. It keeps him busy. And social media is going strong. We're waving to you guys, and Ace McKay is doing a fabulous job at the boards and the controls. 833-288-3986. I got to ask the question today. What's behind the name Take Two? Father Brown asked me, what's behind the name Take Two? Father Brown's a chaplain of Cleveland, the Rock radio station. And he said, what's behind Take Two? I said, well, some people may think it takes 2 of us to do the show, but it's actually Take Two. You take a fresh look, a new look, a second look at things.
Yeah. That's what we all want to do. We want to encourage you to do that. Also, the take part, your take, whatever your take is on the topic of the day, is going to help out a lot of people. Yesterday was part 1 of this show on the saint or saints that you feel most close to or closest to in your life. And we heard a lot of the very popular saints, and there were some that were maybe less popular, not as well known, somewhat obscure, including a Saint Melangel, which is how I would pronounce it, but I have looked it up. I did my homework, Debbie. I said I would, and study this saint. Was I believe, a 6th century. She went out into a field to be a hermitess, and then a gentleman coming along hunting, I guess, owned the land or something, and saw her piety and her love of God, and actually gave her the plot of land there to start a local community. So, folks, there's saints for everything, for every occasion, for every single one of us. There's no one size fits all. You can have any saint you want as your patron, and a million other people could have that same saint, and you could be the only one who has a certain saint as your patron.
And I love that there's a patron saint for every ailment and every struggle and everything that we encounter here on earth. So which saint do you go to when you want that added support? Fill up that last phone line at 833-288-3986. This is your show, Take Two, with Jerry and Debbie and you.
Have you ever heard someone say, all religions are basically the same thing? They only differ in their external forms, in the way they express it. G.K. Chesterton says the truth is precisely the other way around. The religions of the world do not greatly differ in rites and forms. They do differ greatly in what they teach. There's only one religion that believes that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, that he suffered and died for our sins, that he rose from the dead. Only one religion that believes in one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church, the communion of saints, the resurrection of the body, and life everlasting.
Spend more time with the Apostle of Common Sense. Visit chesterton.org for more information, and go to EWTNRC.com to discover more books and programs written and inspired by G.K. Chesterton.
Have you had your free consultation yet with one of our certified life coaches? Schedule one now at standtalltoday.com. Life coaches are trained, caring people who walk side by side with you as you seek to maximize your God-given potential and live your life's purpose with passion. And there's no better place to get started than with a free consultation at standtalltoday.com. That's standtalltoday.com, where you can start to unlock your incredible future. All right, Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. And you are really coming through again, as you always do. We have lines that are basically full. Somebody just dropped off one of the lines, so you can get in at 833-288-3986. We're talking about the patron saint or saints that you feel closest to in your life, in your walk with God. And we're going to get to your calls right after I tell you about something that sounds really cool. And this is from EWTN's religious catalog. We are celebrating spiritual and natural motherhood. It's a greeting card that does just that. A stunning greeting card that features the image originally painted by, I hope I get this right, Italian master Giuseppe Magni. Giuseppe Magni, or Magni. It's an uncommon glance into a carefree morning with Our Lady holding the child Jesus on her lap as the local children bring flowers to give to him. It's available now at EWTNRC.com, where you get free standard shipping for online orders $75 or more at checkout. That's in the continental U.S. only. And real briefly, the text inside, it reads, it's a prayer to motherhood. It reads, loving God, who alone knows and understands the hearts of a woman, I lift up in prayer blessed motherhood, the channel of all human life. As our Lord Jesus Christ himself came through the woman, may we acknowledge and honor the exalted gift of motherhood as mothers love and serve their husbands and children. Through the intercession of Holy Mary, Mother of God, may all women receive into their hearts the divine call to motherhood, both natural and spiritual, and find their joy and identity in this calling. So again, it's a spiritual and natural motherhood greeting card from EWTN Religious Catalog. We invite you to buy Catholic Shop EWTNRC.com.
That is beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, another shout out and invitation to Juanita and Jim from New York, Lorraine from Massachusetts, Bob from Virginia. Call back. Matt Gabinski is waiting to put you at the front of the line. Please make sure that you just let Matt know that. Okay, where are we going first? Tell me, because we're getting a lot of messages coming in. I just want to make sure we go to the first caller.
Lisa would be first.
Okay.
In Lincolnton, Georgia, first-time caller. Hi, Lisa. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good
Thank you
morning.
for taking my call.
Sure.
I called to say that the saint whom I took as my saint when I was confirmed 4 months ago in December is Saint Dymphna.
Mm-hmm. We're very familiar with Saint Dymphna. Wonderful saint.
I chose her because of my own struggles with depression and anxiety after losing my parents and then losing my guardian to suicide. And also because we have adopted 6 children, and the last child we adopted has epilepsy, and she is associated with neurological disorders. So that is why I chose St. Dymphna.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, that's beautiful. Debbie and I, as Debbie said a moment ago, Lisa, we are familiar with St. Dymphna. In fact, a lot of counselors and priests and people who see those who are struggling with things like anxiety and depression, PTSD, and so forth, will encourage them to go to St. Dymphna. Most of the saints, Debbie, and I don't know the history of St. Dymphna, but usually they're the patron of something because they themselves kind of went through that. Was that the case with St. Dymphna? Do you know?
Well, yeah, and my understanding is typically a saint gets assigned. The church assigns that saint to be the patron of a certain situation or occupation or something like that, if they had some kind of experience with it, whether it's that they themselves dealt with it or they encountered it in their ministry life or something of that nature. Do you know more, Lisa, about Saint Dymphna, and tell us a little bit about what she went through?
Well, as I understand, she was being pursued and ended up having her head chopped off because she would not engage in an incestuous relationship.
Okay.
And so I guess for that reason, she is considered a wonderful saint to pray to if we have difficult situations that affect us in our mental health, and also because of our son Jack having epilepsy that is very difficult to control. And I invoke her help quite often on behalf of him. And I do want to thank you for being my friends on my journey at age 66 into the Catholic Church. My husband came in this month during the Easter Vigil. I came in back in December. And I want to thank you for the role you've played in helping us along our journey.
Praise
Wow.
be God.
Lisa,
Praise be
yes,
God.
welcome home. Lisa, can we add you and your husband's first name in our book and your son? Or all your
Sure.
children? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I have 13.
Oh, boy. God bless you.
I think that might take up too many lines. But my name is Lisa. My husband's name is Jeremy, and our son with epilepsy is Jack.
Beautiful. And I added the whole family. God knows all 13 in the whole family. And welcome home. What a beautiful journey you've been on, and you continue to be on, because God has great things in store for all of us until we take our very last breath. And so God bless you. We can hear the joy in your heart.
Oh, we are delighted, and I have been trained well through a wonderful priest who took RCIA very, very seriously, and I'm very thankful for that.
Well, so are we, Lisa. The church was made better now by you coming in December and Jeremy coming in at the Easter Vigil this year, and your entire family. You are a great gift to us, to the entire church. You know how much the church is a gift to you. We just want you to know what a great gift you all are to the church. The church was incomplete without you, and is still incomplete because there are still people that need to come home. But thank you, Lisa, for your great story and your phone call.
And beautiful, kind words.
Yeah, kind word. Yeah, we appreciate that. 833-288-3986. This is a part 2, and Luke was on the line yesterday in Florida talking about saints that we feel closest to, and Luke is going to rejoin us here. He did call back today. Thank you, Luke. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great.
I write about the Japanese martyrs, and there are a couple of martyrs who came to mind, and it's hard to say my favorite, but I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So St. Louis Ibaraki, it was one of the 26 martyrs crucified in Nagasaki on February 5th, 1597. He was 12 years old. And oh boy, I'm going to break down now. He 12 years old, right? He was offered his life by the sheriff in charge of the crucifixion, of the execution, offered to let him off, and he said he didn't want to crucify a little boy, and he offered to let him off. Do you know the story of the 26 martyrs? They were, they were mutilated up in Kyoto. They had their ears cut, and they were marched all the way down to Nagasaki at like 800 kilometers, and crucified in Nagasaki. And before the crucifixion, the sheriff offered him his life. He said, "I'll let you be my page, my private servant, because I don't want to kill you." And the boy asked, "On what condition? Am I going to be allowed to continue being a Christian?" And he said, "No, not on that. No, you can't be a Christian." And he said, "On that condition, I won't do it, because it would be unreasonable." This is a quote from this 12-year-old boy. "It would be unreasonable to exchange a short life for one that has no end."
Wow.
And so he was crucified by his own act of free will. And I had miracles in Japan through the intercession of St. Louis Ibaraki. I didn't even realize. And I experienced thousands of miracles in Japan. I was converted by the martyrs. I joined the Catholic Church in Japan. But
wow.
And can I mention one more?
Sure, real quick.
Santa Magdalena of Nagasaki, just the most remarkable heroine of. She endured over 2 weeks of the most extreme torture ever known to man, and she was hanging in the torture pit for 2 weeks. They asked her, how can you still be alive? And she said, "I feel a fatherly hand caressing my face, and he takes away my pain."
Wow.
So she I have a website about this if people want to read about these martyrs.
Yeah, give that to our call screener here in just a second, and we'll take a look at that, Luke. All I can say is, wow, I'm blown away by the impact this had on you. You said you became Catholic, came to the faith in Japan, and these martyrs were a huge reason for that. Not just because of the way you studied their lives and so forth, but there's that saying, the blood of the martyrs is the seed of Christianity, and so they shed their blood, and that seed then has to take root and be watered and grow within the hearts of people just like you, Luke. So if I have the name right, St. Luis Ebaraki and Santa Magdalena of Nagasaki, just a couple of, Debbie, I'm thinking about St. Luis, 12 years old. God's grace is so powerful at moments like that.
Well, that's what hit me so hard, Luke, when you were saying 12 years old, and to have that kind of courage and understanding of where he was headed and what it means to live here and for all of eternity, and then to make that that decision and to impart that to those who wanted to kill him. I mean, you know what? This is big. When we've got our 12-year-olds, okay, in this incredible martyred saint, when we have our 12-year-olds leading the charge, what does that say for the rest of us? We need to really step it up. All of us need to step it up and get deep in our faith and our understanding of what it means to live this life and then for all of eternity. Luke, I can't wait to look at your website. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. It got me very emotional, and I know it did for others as well.
All right, 833-288-3986. Take two at EWTN is our email address. And Julia sent this near the end of yesterday's program. Jerry and Debbie, long story, but this saint called out to me at a relic exhibition for many reasons. Blow up the photo below. It's St. Margaret of Cortona, a penitent, religious, and her body is incorruptible. And there's a dog in the picture with St. Margaret of Cortona, and Julia says the dog looks like my little dog Petey, who died 3 years ago. And then Debbie, she says, I too was born on September 23rd, Padre Pio's feast day.
Padre Pio.
Thank you, Julia.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah, keep sending the stories in. And Luke, please email us your website at take2@ewtn.com. Okay, Winnie is up next, and Winnie is in Indiana, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Winnie. Thanks for waiting and welcome. Tell us your saint that you're close to, or your daughter is, I guess.
Well, it's my daughter, actually. I'm actually calling it my daughter's saint. Yes, I have 9. I'm a grandmother of 9 grandsons and a proud grandmother. I wouldn't have cared if we had 5 more. But my daughter found out this year that she was expectant, and not only was she having a little baby girl, but she's having 2. She's going to bless us with twins. So we immediately, my daughter's favorite saint was always Saint Rita. She had always had a special drawing to her, all the prayers that seemed answered that she prayed to her. And even if you know anything about Saint Rita, you'll know that bees were a part of her story. Like when Saint Rita was born, I guess at her baptism, bees flew in and out of her mouth, and she was unharmed by this. And after she died, a colony of bees planted themselves right by her grave, and they come out during, they always show up around Easter time. So I thought that was amazing in itself. So it wasn't a surprise at all that my daughter would name baby A Rita. But now it was time for my son-in-law to name baby B, and he just chose the name Abigail, which I thought was beautiful. We hadn't heard the name Abigail, and the name Abigail actually means cause for joy. So I thought that was beautiful. But I'm a Catholic granny, and I wanted all my grandbabies to have a saint's name. So I decided to look it up, and immediately I come to find out that not only is Abigail a saint, but she's a great saint. And what was really amazing about the whole thing is that she has a connection to bees also. So, her story is that she actually was a beekeeper, and she loved bees so much that her honey, I guess, was used to heal people, to heal the sick. And she did miraculous things. She drew a line in the sand back in the olden days to prevent a plague from coming in, and no plague came into this town. No one got sick. Abigail and Rita are going to be born during the time of a plague right now with this pandemic. And her honey was used to ward off evil, and, bees would fly out and, I guess, take away the evil. I guess back in the olden days, bees were known as the soul would leave the body in the form of a bee. This was an old way of thinking, but now they don't think that way no more. But the bees, your soul would leave the body like in a form of a bee or a butterfly, and it was kind of like a touch on the resurrection, But anyway, we had so many signal gracious. My husband was actually at work, and he had no idea that it was the feast of Saint Rita. He was at a customer's, and he looked over, and he seen a beautiful Saint Rita statue, and he said, "Oh, I like your statue." And she said, "Well, my mother's." So he went on to tell this lady, his customer, about the story of our Abigail and our Rita. And she looked at my husband and smiled, and she said, "My mother-in-law's name is Rita, and my sister's name is Abigail." And it was the feast of St. Rita, and you don't see St. Rita statues in everyone's yard. I mean, you see the Blessed Mother. I mean, anyway, all I know is that I feel like our Lord.
Yeah, Winnie, you can't make this stuff up, okay? This is how God works, and it's so precious, and I love it, and it's amazing. And we put you and your family and the twins that are coming in the book, and how exciting. You know, your family's just growing and expanding, and then you got the saints all around you. But Winnie, hang on for a second, because Jerry didn't get a chance to share some comments with you. We'll be right back.
This is Prudence Robertson, host of EWTN Pro-Life Weekly.
I'm Colin Flynn, EWTN Newsroom correspondent.
Get trusted Catholic news every day on EWTN radio and television.
You can be a part of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Text EWTN to 55000. Wait for a response, then text your first name and question. It's that easy. Message and data rates may apply.
EWTN offers the Holy Sacrifice of the Mass live every morning at 8 Eastern and provides you with daily readings to follow along and enrich your experience. To be sure you don't miss out on the daily Mass or to get access to previous recordings, we can send a link to your email inbox every day. It's easy. Visit EWTN.com and click subscribe. EWTN, the Global Catholic Network.
The most original Catholic content is on EWTN Radio. Tonight on EWTN Live, Monsignor Kieran Harrington, the National Director of the Pontifical Mission Societies, talks about Pauline Jericho's inspiring work on EWTN Live.
EWTN Live with me, Father Mitch Packwood, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on EWTN TV and radio.
The Holy Father's prayer intention for the month of April is healthcare workers. We pray for healthcare workers who serve the sick and the elderly. May they be adequately supported by governments and local communities.
Hi, this is Janet Williams. You don't have to be a woman to enjoy Women of Grace tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern here on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, you're with Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. Ace McKay is our producer. He's on the controls right now. And I got something weird just came into my throat.
You're getting older. Let me just give you a heads up. And your birthday's coming up in July, so before I'll let you catch your breath for a minute, we got to ask Winnie when the twins are due. I wonder if it's around your birthday. Can I ask her?
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Winnie, when are the twins due?
On July the 15th.
Oh, the 15th.
We don't know if they're going to come early.
They're going to come early. Yeah. Wow. So Jerry's born in July. Yeah, my husband's born in July. July's a good time to be born.
Yes, it is. It certainly is. We're thrilled to death that we're getting these baby girls, you know. Mm-hmm. But, a part of it I didn't get to share was St. Rita's life was so beautiful that she actually prayed. It was a beautiful story of forgiveness. She prayed, actually, that she would receive the stigmata, and she was confined to bed for the last years of her life, and she practically lived on the Eucharist alone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the saints are, wow. That's the only word you can think of sometimes when you're talking about some of these saints. And she asked for that gift, and the Lord granted that to her. That's the old saying, be careful what you ask for. You might get it, but that was God's chosen path for her sanctification and ultimate glorification in heaven. So, Winnie, thank you so much. Health and well-being to your daughter and your son-in-law and the twin grandchildren that are on the way. And thanks for joining us on the program today. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. You got a wonderful show. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. God bless you.
Great calls today, and we're getting comments coming in. Jerry, I mean, it's looking like it's pacing. It's pacing that we could potentially do a part 3, but I know a lot of our listeners are saying they love when we do our monthly or quarterly clean joke shows, and I know that's scheduled for tomorrow. So we're going to try to work towards that because some people need to laugh. You need a good laugh. You need to just unwind and relax, and we like to do that together the Take Two way. So, but let's keep going with the calls, and Debbie is up next, first-time caller, Columbus, Ohio, listening on St. Gabriel Radio. Hi, Debbie. Welcome.
Hello. How are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Just fine, thanks.
So tell us, which saints?
Well, 43 years ago, when we were expecting our first baby, we were looking at names, and I came across St. Hilary. He was a doctor of the church. He lived in the 300s. He was born to a pagan family, but looked around the world and thought, that can't be right. And he heard Christians talking, and he became a Christian. And then he became one of the most influential, Christians in the church. He wrote the first hymns. I just liked the name Hilary. And then I was looking for a middle name, and I found Catherine. And Hilary comes from the same root word as hilarious, or cheerful. And Catherine is pure heart. And so we named our daughter Hilary Catherine. It just sounded musical to me. Well, 2.5 years later, she was diagnosed with developmental handicaps. And several years after that, when I was looking up some information about St. Hilary again, I remembered that I read he was often depicted with a cradle at his feet. And so I researched that and came to find out that a child died before it was baptized, and his mother was beside herself. Hilary brought the child back to life and baptized the child. All right, so now we have a daughter with developmental handicaps, and I found out that because of the connection with the raising of the dead child, he is the patron saint of children with handicaps.
Mm.
And so we have our little cheerful, pure heart, Hilary Catherine.
How beautiful. How beautiful, Debbie. And I know that you shared with our call screener, I'm seeing it on our screen here, you don't name your child. We fell into our patron you put to our call screener. And that is oh so true. And we're hearing stories yesterday and a few today like that, along those lines, where you pick names and then it's maybe after the fact. Sometimes you do some research ahead of time and you have your reasons for naming kids what you do. But after that, you find out that it's even deeper than that. And the connection is just way, way more profound than you actually anticipated that it was. So I think that's beautiful.
And she had a job and worked with in an assisted living facility. Mm-hmm. And she goes to a day program now every day. And everywhere she goes, she is the cheerful, pure heart.
Pure heart. And you can hear it in your voice. I mean, that's you appreciate her so very, very much, and that's a wonderful thing. And you have the added support of the saints all around her. I think it's beautiful, and that's what God wants for us. He does not want us to feel alone and to feel like we don't have that additional kind of the cheerleading squad, if you will, around us. He wants us to have that kind of companionship and that support from heaven above. We know that because of Psalm 91 and our guardian angels, right? We know that God wants us to constantly feel supported and that we're not just traveling this earth alone. So you have it sounds like you have a big heavenly team around you, Debbie, with your beautiful daughter.
We certainly do.
Yep, I believe it. I believe it. I totally believe it. And I'm living proof of it. I mean, if we didn't have full phone lines, I would affirm your story, Debbie. I've actually heard a similar story. That's why I know your story to be spot on and very true and coming straight from God himself. So God bless you. You're a beautiful family.
Thank you, and blessings on you and your work.
Thank you, Debbie. God bless. 833-288-3986. Take two with Jerry and Debbie. And you, part 2 from yesterday, which saint or saints do you feel the closest to? And we had a comment on the show website, take2show.com, if I may read that.
Please do so.
Okay, it's again, it's take2show.com. You can post a comment right there. This is from Barbara Ann. My favorite saint now is St. Pope John Paul II. I love this man for the strength and courage he exhibited during the devastating time of destruction and carnage in Poland. Despite all of his losses, family deaths, incarceration, emotional upheavals during the Nazi horror show, his faith never wavered. He models redemptive suffering for me. God guided him into his priesthood, and the rest is history. I love his World Youth Day tradition and his legacy, the institution of Divine Mercy Sunday, the theology of the body, and the canonization of St. Maria Faustina. St. Pope John Paul II, please pray for us. And that's from Barbara Ann.
Barbara Ann, we totally agree. Jerry and I are big fans and followers of John Paul II. And we could add to that the luminous mysteries, the catechism of the Catholic Church. I mean, it can go on and on. Pope John Paul II is awesome. Remember how they used to chant JP2, we love you? We certainly do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to go to Jim in New York, listening on EWTN.com. Jim, thanks for your patience and waiting, and welcome to Take Two.
Oh, good. Thank you. Good subject. So, Saint interacted with us during the lockdown. My wife was making dresses for a charity called Dress a Girl Around the World. And during the lockdown, she had a lot of time. She wasn't working her part-time job. So she just made dresses. And she was taking a batch into our parish, and she had 68 dresses. And she had them bagged up. And I said, well, why don't we just, before you do that, let's take them out and spread them in the family room and take a picture of you with the dresses. She said, no. I said, yeah, let's do that. It would be a good memory. So she did it, took the picture, sent it to our family, our children, and got a lot of responses and stuff. But that night, before she went to bed, she had this thought of St. Anthony Mary Claret. And she said, who is that? She had it came out of nowhere. So she went to bed. She woke up two times in the middle of the night with the name St. Anthony Mary Claret. And it happened, and when she woke up in the morning, again, that name came to her. And so I looked it up. She didn't know who he was. I didn't know who he was. And here it's a pretty well-known saint from all the writing on him, but he worked in the clothing industry, the cloth, the fabric industry prior to his sanctification. So I believe, as other people I've talked to, that I think it was just St. Anthony Mary Claret, patting her on the head, so to speak, for her contributions in her work for the Dress a Girl charity, and she dedicated herself to that, still making dresses, not to the extent she was before, though. So that's our interaction, and that's a saint that came out of nowhere for us.
Wow. That's great, Jim. Debbie and I both know a few Claretians. One very, very well, Father Darren Merlino, and he is into the media a lot, which I believe St. Anthony Mary Claret maybe did some of that because their order publishes a magazine and other things. But God bless your wife. Please give her our thanks and a pat on the back from us, Jim, for taking that time during the COVID lockdown and for creating all of those dresses. I think you did 68 of them in all, and you gave them away to charity, the charity Dress a Girl Around the World. So many good things came out of the pandemic, and this is absolutely one of them, Debbie. And I'm very touched and blessed by Jim's story.
I totally agree. And Jim, we love the Claretians. They're just a wonderful order of priests and religious and just amazing. But Jim, real quickly, I added you in the book. Can we add your wife's first name? I just wanted to add a special blessings to you guys when in prayer for her fine ministry work with the dresses.
Sure, Jean, Jean.
Okay. Beautiful. I've got you both in the book. Awesome, Jim. So St. Anthony is definitely the saint that you guys are becoming friends with, and that's a good thing. That is a good thing. I love it, Jim. So tell Jean thank you so much, and I echo what Jerry says. God bless you. I love that saints become our friends. They really do. And we get very, very close to them, and they are very active in our lives if we allow them to be. And that's a wonderful thing.
We were talking about St. Dymphna earlier, and Tom sent us an email, and he is going to shed a little bit more light on why St. Dymphna is the patron saint of mental health issues. Tom says it's because her father actually had ideas on her. He went mad with his incestuous lust for his young daughter, if you can believe that. And she is a great saint and has been personally a huge help for me, Tom says, in my battle with PTSD.
Yeah. I love Saint Dymphna. Very good, very wonderful, powerful saint. Very active in our lives. Okay, let's hear what Nancy has to say in Spencer, Massachusetts, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Nancy. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you very, very much. I have a wonderful story to tell about St. Francis and our Blessed Mother. When I was a widow, I lost my dog, and I wasn't going to get another dog. And I saw a little dog in somebody else's arms, and I said, I can't do without a dog. At the time, the Rosary group that I belonged to prayed and said, if she's supposed to get a dog, let her get a dog. And I went to the Worcester Area Rescue League, and I found a dog that I fell in love with. She was abused terribly, and there was another family interested in her as well. And the day that I went back to the shelter when she was ready to be let go, I got up to the line and I said, I'm a widow, and this dog would be perfect for me, and I've had my heart set on her. And she says, well, there's another family interested in her, and they'll have to have first choice. So I went back in line, and a mother with two sons came to me and said, Nancy, we're going to let you have Chloe. And I hugged them, and I said, thank you so much, an answer to a prayer. And I keep a St. Francis pet medal on my dog at all times. And truly, she was the gift of the Blessed Mother and the Rosary group.
Absolutely. What a beautiful story. You just think about, the animals and what they have been through. And it boggles the mind that anybody could abuse, especially physically, an animal. Obviously, they're not people, but they are God's creation, and we have to be good stewards of all of God's creation. And I'm so happy for you, Nancy, that this worked out this way. And God bless that mother and those two boys. They obviously saw in your face, what was in your heart. And they realized that was something that you needed, and God just definitely worked that out for you. St. Francis was all over that situation as well. So I'm just really totally blessed for you. What about you, Debbie?
Oh, as you were speaking, Nancy, I totally would agree with you about St. Francis and the Blessed Mother. But, this is a different twist on it. You've got a beautiful story. This one's a little odd, but it's kind of interesting. And I just, put it out there just because it's kind of interesting how even God's, animals know who to go to. My husband and I have a St. Francis statue. It's blessed in our backyard, and it's positioned in a certain corner of the backyard. It's kind of remote, and it's really not where you would think it probably should be for a lot of access to it. And the interesting thing, we have this neighborhood cat that keeps killing these small birds and little rabbits, and the cat is burying these little animals right next to the St. Francis statue. Now, this cat could bury these animals anywhere in the yard, but for some reason it's right around the St. Francis statue. It is the oddest thing. And we've heard that has happened before, but never like this. And I'm wondering, isn't it interesting how closely aligned St. Francis has been with the animals, and how it's almost like they innately know to go to St. Francis. It's the strangest thing. But it's an odd story, Nancy, but I just wanted to confirm kind of the impact of St. Francis.
And may I add one more small comment?
Sure.
My favorite saying is Psalm 51, and St. Francis was known to say it often: create a pure heart in me and place within me a steadfast spirit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love Psalm 51. Yeah, I love all the Psalms, but you're spot on, Nancy. Nancy, we love you. Keep writing those poems. You're amazing. Okay, we're going to Joseph? Or do you want to share about Catholic Connection?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Catholic Connection with Teresa Tomeo, weekdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow, Teresa's first of 2 shows covering a recent conference at Father Gabriel Richard, I'm not sure, high school in Ann Arbor, Michigan, called Divided We Fail, How to Regain Unity Among Catholics. She sits down with the president of the high school, Joe Giordano, and also Marcus Peter, a theology instructor at the school. And they're also going to play student reflections. That's tomorrow morning. Catholic Connection with Teresa Tomeo, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on EWTN.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful show. Okay, Joseph is up next in Maryland and wants to tell us about his favorite saint, or one of his favorite saints. Hi, Joseph. And he's listening on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, Joseph.
Hi, Debbie. Hi, Jerry.
Hello.
I just wanted to, you made a comment earlier about what saint do you go to? And there is the saint that has the nickname the go-to saint, which is the only saint that's been declared a saint without actual so-called recorded history, but it's Saint Philomena. And Saint Philomena has her nickname as all-powerful with God. And it's interesting that Saint John Vianney and Saint Padre Pio consistently mentioned Saint Philomena as a powerful intercessor for all the miracles that were so-called accomplished in them. St. John Vianney said that he used to get embarrassed because people would attribute things to him that he said he didn't want to be attributed to because he knew it was St. Philomena who was interacting to God for him. But I know many people that have had a lot of so-called little miracles through this very well-known but unknown virgin martyr who died at the age of 12 or 13. And, people don't know her history, but her remains were found in the catacombs of
Her remains were found? Yeah.
Yeah, her remains were found back in the catacombs of Priscilla, and just to piece together her history, they had to basically, take her bones out, and it just so happened that someone in Mugnano, Italy, a priest at the time, bishop, had asked for the remains of an unknown saint, and they were transported there, and then, her story unfolded in locutions to a sister, and that were documented. But unfortunately, she was taken off the Roman calendar back in 1962, I think to avoid any kind of so-called superstition, because she didn't have any so-called documentation as the other saints did. But I know a lot of people have had great devotion to her and have had so-called many miracles in their own personal lives attributed to her. And I thought she should be mentioned because if anyone knows about her history, about how she died as a virgin martyr and under the hands of Diocletian, he attempted to kill her multiple times, and she was unable to be killed until finally he got so frustrated he had to decapitate her to accomplish. And she is truly all-powerful with God. People that are listening, I'm sure, have had little testimonies, as my wife and I have had, of her intercession in our lives. And, we had never been able to have children, but she's like a little adopted daughter for us.
Beautiful. Nice. Well, Joseph, I have to tell you something. There's no accident to your call. God is working in just marvelous ways. I've always had a devotion to St. Philomena because I used to go to St. Philomena Church in New Jersey. And there was a year when I was a religious educator that I brought St. Philomena's story and the understanding to the junior high and high school. And that was the year we made, I don't know if you've heard of it, I'm sure you have because you love St. Philomena, the Cord of St. Philomena. Philomena. It's a special cord that you make out of, like cotton. It has to be made a certain way. It's red and white. The white stands for virginity. The red stands for martyrdom. And it's a devotion to Saint Philomena. And the kids all made, the junior high and high school kids all made the red and white cord, and we had it blessed by Father, and they wore it. They wore it they were so committed to Saint Philomena. And it's the oddest thing, Joseph, but in the last year, I've had this strong pull to make the red and white cord again. And here you call in with Saint Philomena, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going out today to the fabric store, and I'm going to get the proper wool. It has to be wool or cotton, and I'm going to get the red and white and start the devotion again. Have you heard of it, Joseph? I'm sure you have.
Oh my gosh, my wife and I have been wearing it for the past 13 years since we've been married, and we learned about St. Philomena in an adoration chapel back when we first got married, and ever since then, we've had a lot of little interesting stories about people that wear the cord around the waist, or wear it around the wrist.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We've had interactions with people who recognize each other because of wearing the cord.
Yep.
And then they become really good friends because now St. Philomena just wants that to be. And so it's amazing what the cord will do. And also in people's situations where they just are they don't know what to do, just putting the cord on, even at death. We have a friend, unfortunately, died when she was in her late 30s, and she died with the cord around her waist because she came back into the church. After watching us go to Mass every Sunday, she asked us to help her, and she just threw herself back into the Catholic Church, and God took her with her cancer, and she died with the cord around her waist. And she believes St. Philomena came to see her before she died.
Wow, that is powerful. I've been aware of St. Philomena, Tom, or Joseph, and Debbie, but as you've been talking, Joseph, I actually did look up online, and the things that you said about her. They attempted to kill her with shooting her with arrows and drowning her, and so many other ways. And I guess the emperor, or whoever, finally just got so frustrated, he said, "Well, let's just take care of this, for good." But each of the previous attempts to kill her, angels came over and through prayer healed her. So. Just shows that, God is always there, and God has his hand on his sons and daughters. Ultimately, God was pleased to accept her ultimate sacrifice of the beheading for his eternal glory and her salvation. So thanks for sharing with us what you did, Joseph, today. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. God bless.
Thank you. Okay, Amy wants to do a big shout out for the Little Flower, St. Therese of Lisieux, another great, powerful young saint. So sorry, Amy, we're not going to get to you and your story, but you can always email us at take2@ewtn.com. We also have a lot of social media coming in and text messages coming in, more for St. Teresa of Avila, St. Catherine of Siena, St. Francis, St. Anthony. It goes on and on. Padre Pio, St. Teresa of Calcutta. I won't be able to get to everybody. It's all the angels and saints.
Well, watching on YouTube, Colin says one of his go-tos is Venerable Matt Talbot. Pray for his beatification and canonization. Michael P. says, is anyone familiar with St. Brendan the Navigator? Supposedly, he found North America almost 1,000 years prior to Christopher Columbus. I did not, never heard of that. Wow. Joanna, I always ask St. Padre Pio to intercede for me before confession. I also prayed to Padre Pio on the day of his canonization before a difficult exam in college. On the day of the exam, I smelled violets while I was writing.
Amazing. Okay, we're getting some messages. What is about the cord of St. Philomena? Just internet search it. It's the cord of St. Philomena. Just follow it specifically. It has to be red and white and made a certain way. Okay, folks, this was a great 2-part show. I love it. Tomorrow is all about clean jokes. Very clean, nice, very, innocent jokes, Jerry.
Yeah. Stuff that you can tell in the presence of, people who don't like bad jokes.
Yeah, a 2-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of really clean, funny jokes, and we're going to do that again tomorrow here on Take 2 with Jerry and Debbie. Until then, have a beautiful and blessed day. St. Joseph, pray for us. God bless.
The most original and exclusive Catholic content is on EWTN Radio.
I feel really blessed to be able to go on EWTN Radio and answer questions